Welcome back to WMAY's coverage of Glenwood Titan football, joined now by head football coach, Coach David Hay. And, Coach, obviously not the way you would like the regular season to end. When you have a game like that in the regular season, you have a quick turnaround for playoffs. What do you do with the film with that? Is that something you just kind of show real quick and move on, or what do you do in that particular situation?
Well, we got the extra day because we play on Saturday, so we treated Monday like Saturday. We watched it. We went in and dug into the Griffin game just like we would on a Saturday morning, and then moved right on to Crete. So we needed to watch that. We needed to see what we did well. We did some things well early, and really in both halves we did things well, and then we just didn't play very well after that. So it was important to see, and they certainly got a look.
Take us through the process. We talk about this every year, but how much easier it is now when you get that, from when you get the playoff seedings to getting that film, how much quicker is that to be able to start implementing a game plan as it was in the past where you have to figure out where to meet and exchange tapes with your opponent?
Yeah, I was talking to my wife about that. You had to make copies of tapes, and you had to decide which McDonald's you were going to meet at. Hi, Mr. Green. Which McDonald's you were going to stop at and meet the other coaches, and what time of night or morning you were going to do that. And so, yeah, you can certainly turn it around. We had video by, I think, Saturday night. I think we'd already done it.
Now, kind of a blessing and a curse for you in the CS8. You have really tough opponents each and every year, but they know you, you know them. How much more fun is it now to go outside that conference to play against an opponent you're kind of familiar with in Crete, but an opportunity for you to play somebody different for a change?
Yeah, it is kind of exciting to do that, especially if they are new. You're digging into a whole brand new program and what they do. We're certainly familiar with Crete. It's the same thing that we've seen in 16 and in 18. A lot of similarities. So it's different but familiar in this particular case.
Long road trip for you. How do you go about that? What's the process for you guys on a 3-hour road trip up to Crete?
Well, we're going to be leaving early, and we have in the past stopped along the way. I don't think we're going to this time. I think we're going to ride straight through, and we warm up at an alternate location. We were going to warm up at a high school up nearby, and that fell through, and so we're still in the process trying to figure that out, and where we end up, I don't know yet, but we'll try to keep it as routine as possible, of course.
How do you keep the players focused? Are you very much strictly like you need to just kind of be quiet? What is it like on the bus? How do you make sure the players are staying engaged?
Well, it's kind of a two-step process. On the way up there, it's a bus ride to wherever you're going, and you're going to get there and you're going to warm up. Once you get into that warm up and you're ready to go play, there's a different mindset, and I don't. The kids handle that. The captains handle that if there's any issues, and by the time they're warming up, they're ready to go play. They're locked in.
Your opponent, like we talked about, somewhat familiar. For people who may not have seen Crete and want a comparable to opponent in the CS8, what I see is almost like Rochester and MacArthur came together and tried to come up with an offensive game plan at a time with some of the razzle-dazzle they do.
Yeah, there's some different things they do. There's some things that they do on special teams that are much different. I don't think that anyone's quite like them in the way in which they do things in our conference, but it's certainly very big, very fast, very strong. Some real athletes we've got to deal with, and then they do a lot. They do a lot of different things, and so we'll have to get ready for that too.
You mentioned special teams. They throw different looks there. How much more focus have you had on special teams this week, maybe opposed to weeks in the regular season?
I would say more in terms of focusing on the opponent and what they do, because they do present a lot of different things, especially in the onside kick regularly.
Yeah.
And so things like that you had to focus on, but primarily what we want to do and things we want to execute, that part stays the same.
Defensively for your ball club, when you're preparing for a team that has 3 different quarterbacks sometimes that comes in the game, how important is it for them to focus on personnel and read their keys when those guys come in and out of the game?
Personnel and formation. They throw a lot of different formations at you, and everybody, when they do those things, has some tendencies, and so the kids have been coached on those things. They're aware of those things, and then they've got to carry it out. So they've got to recognize it, and they practice that in practice. Our demo offense, I actually run the demo offense. It's kind of the way my role is kind of developed. They've done a great job of simulating as best they can what Crete's going to present.
defensively, from what I saw on film, they're not afraid to load the box, but it did seem they were susceptible at times to runs up the middle. So does that play into maybe the strength you have with Jamarion in the backfield?
Well, they're very aggressive. They're very physical. And when you do that, when you are up in the box that much and you're going to load it that much, sometimes you might get things pop on you. And certainly the way we run the ball between the tackles with our zone game, we hope it turns out that way. We're going to have to meet their aggressiveness up front, really all the way across the board.
Coach, before we let you go, we appreciate you taking the time. I know it's been a crazy week for you. Injury front, I know every team is banged up in this particular, but is anyone with anything nagging or anything like that?
Well, I can't really get into the details. We are beat up. We've taken a lot of injuries. The best one known, of course, is Jack. But yeah, everybody's beat up this time of year, and sometimes you just got to play sore. Certainly not injured. Nobody's playing who's injured, but everybody's got bumps and bruises this time of year, and everybody's got to step up. So.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time. Best of luck this week against Crete-Monee, and hopefully we'll talk it again next week for a second round of matchup against Ignatius or Brenneman.
I hope so. Thanks, Mike.